lot of that is important is because if you don't hear my story, you're not really going to understand like what our catalysts to success were in all of this. So the number one thing is prioritizing sales, and I'll talk about sales in a minute here. Like for me, it was, or I guess I'll use a better example. What a lot of agencies end up doing, and I guess like anyone who's using you as a white label service, they're not doing this, which is great. What they end up doing is they try and do their sales, they try and do their onboarding, they try and do all their fulfillment, they try and do all their prospecting, they try and do literally everything under the sun. And then all of a sudden, they're spending all their time doing fulfillment. They're not prospecting. They're not sharpening their sales skills. They're missing sales meetings to deal with fulfillment issues. And it just becomes a mess. And when you try and just like keep your margins as large as you possibly can, you're costing your business a ton of money because you need to learn how to sell, and selling should become your full-time job in your company until you get to a certain point. And then you have your full-time job becomes training your sales staff. And then you hire a sales manager. And then at that point, you can start to become the CEO of your business. But up until that point, it's like sales needs to be the number one thing that you're focusing on, in my opinion, until you get to the point where you're basically a CEO in your business.
A quick question, like you said, focus on your sales until you get to a certain point. Like what was that point for you?
So I talk about this in a second here, but then the time that you can basically make that transition is basically fill your own calendar with meetings. And until your calendar is completely full, don't bring on another salesperson. So outsource everything, like literally get everything off of your plate except sales. Fill your calendar. When your calendar is full, hire another salesperson. When that salesperson is closing at an acceptable rate, that there's a high enough ROI, they don't have to match your close rate because as an owner, you're probably always going to sell better than your staff. So that's when you really need to bring on a new salesperson. Once that person is ROI positive, hire another salesperson. And then once your business is basically going in that forward direction and you're beyond a break even, paying their commissions, your paid ads if you're doing paid acquisition. Basically, once you're ROI positive, then you can start to remove yourself slowly from your position as being a salesperson in your business. And that's kind of like the natural attrition. I think one like huge mistake that people make is they're like, I got like 4 meetings a day. I'm going to hire a closer. I'm just too busy. And it's like, no. Until you're taking 10 meetings a day, you don't need a salesperson. Like get so good at it that you can train your salesperson to be just as good as you. Even though like I find they're usually, most salespeople, like there are, we do have salespeople that have better close rates than me, but I'd say the average salesperson is going to have a lower close rate than an owner. And that's just kind of the reality of it. Your confidence is always higher when you're the owner, and confidence is really important.
Yeah.